Hello and welcome into Rochester Regional Stadium. It's USL League 2 Deep North Conference action between the Rochester FC Minnesota squad and Minneapolis City SC. Two teams both based in Minnesota, and the first time these two teams have met in the so-called Battle of the Birds between the Loons and the Crows. And both teams coming in on very different paths right now. Rochester FC comes in off the back of a 2-1 victory over Bavarian United, a team that was projected to finish first in this Deep North Conference. They've struggled a little bit this season. And for Minneapolis City, as a team that was projected to finish fourth, they've started off slow. It's 0-2-0, their record, 2 losses, both to RKC Third Coast and in their season opener against the St. Croix Legends. However, it hasn't been all bad for Minneapolis City. A couple of stars making their presence felt for this Crows squad, and the name to watch out for, Eli Golden, the product out of New Hampshire University, plays D1 soccer, and on the left wing for the Crows, last game had a hat trick against RKC Third Coast. And the other attacking force to look out for, Hakeem Morgan. He's their number 9, plays Division 3 soccer at St. Olaf, could easily be a Division 1 player. Scored an incredible free kick in their first game that lost to St. Croix Legends. They had the lead at halftime, 1-0, but then 6 minutes, 2 goals for St. Croix was the difference in that one. And in their second game against RKC Third Coast, it was the counter that killed the Crows. RKC took advantage of slow defense and bossed the midfield against this Minneapolis City squad, and Rochester will look to do the same as they go with an unchanged lineup until about 15 minutes ago. Adam Krikora, the left back, goes down with an injury. He'll be moved to the bench in favor of Jeffrey Letienne. Letienne plays for the UPSL squad as well as this USL League 2 squad, the product out of North Iowa Area Community College, and he's a tall guy. When you look out on that field, he stands out compared to everyone else. 6'3" on the roster, but it's a very, very tall 6'3" for Letienne. Hailing from France, once again, that North Iowa Area Community College product, scored 5 goals as a center back, 2 for 2 on PKs, but a very physical player. Don't let his size fool you. He's tall, but he can get in and get physical. 7 yellow cards, 1 red card during his first collegiate season in America. He's going to be transferring to Kansas City Community College, continuing on that path to Division 1, Division 2 soccer. But a very, very young guy. 18, doesn't turn 19 until the middle of November. November 23rd is his birthday. So a very young, but very tried and tested player at the JUCO ranks. Going down the rest of this Rochester FC starting lineup, in goal, the Australian Kieran Brown started the last game. Will start this game as well. On right back, we've got Alan Imamovic. He was the one who had that second assist to Jake Parrish. Ended up being the game-winning assist. In the middle, it's Jeffrey Letienne, like we just mentioned, coming in for Krikora, as well as Tyreek Moore next to him, the captain of this team. And then on the left will be Gabby Herrera. He's the product out of Lindenwood. He'll be transferring it to U Tampa, playing at a very high-level Division 2 program. In the midfield, Nico Cortez, Diego Navia, Spencer Dunlap unchanged. And then up top, Pedro Paredes on the right, Jake Parrish on the left. And at striker, the number 9, the Hungarian Mate. They'll be looking to do some damage against this team that has been scored on pretty often for Minneapolis City. We'll be right back after the break with kickoff here from Rochester Regional Stadium. I'm Arnav Pokrell. Don't go anywhere. And we're back at Rochester Regional Stadium getting set for kickoff between Rochester FC and Minneapolis City SC. Take a quick look at this coaching matchup. It's a debut for Rochester coach Sebastian Narvaez. He was actually not allowed to coach from the bench in the first game against Bavarian United SC. Had to coach from the stands, but finally making his bench debut is Coach Narvaez. Has a pro license from the Federación Colombiana, was an assistant coach at Colombian Pro Clubs, Atletico SC and Ocho Marzo SC. And the resume keeps on going. He's worked with Creighton Women's Soccer, Bellevue Women's Soccer, both in the state of Nebraska. I was a goalkeeper coach at Northern Michigan and a goalkeeper coach at Sewanee University as well for both men's and women's soccer. At Bellevue University, he's an all-time leader with 243 saves from the goalkeeper position, won 40 games and 19 shutouts, all of them records at the time for Bellevue University. And on the other side is Coach Carl Craig from Newcastle, played a little bit for the Newcastle youth clubs, but then eventually fell out of soccer and got into playing in the band, and then eventually fell back in love with coaching, eventually made his move to America, coached the NASL Minnesota United, not the MLS side of Minnesota United, but the fifth-tier team based in Minnesota, and then took a quick break from coaching after about 2016. Got back into it, was named the head coach and technical director of Forward Madison in 2020, and then took another break from there, and now, as of 2023, he was announced as a head coach for Minneapolis City. Minneapolis City in the striking pink jerseys, blue shorts, and on the other side, it's all gray for Rochester as we get closer and closer to kickoff. Referees for this game, Andrew Dush, Ryan Farrell, Stephen Decker, and Connor Dunn, the fourth referee. Coach Narvaez is still missing his assistant coach, who is still not past the league background check, so he'll be assisted by Midat Mujic, one of the founders of Rochester FC, on the bench, just in case he does get that red card. On the bench for Rochester, it's Carson Jeffrey, the backup goalkeeper. Krakora, who was removed from the starting lineup because of a cramp. Armin Dedic, Riley Moore, both players at Western Illinois. Finnegan Huffington, who just graduated from College of St. Scholastica. Making his debut on the bench for Rochester is Warren Diney. A lot in the news about Warren Diney, who had a couple appearances with the Belize national team over their international break in the Nations League. And then Vadas Cholich out of St. Thomas University on the bench as well. He played in the last game against Bavarian after subbing on for Mate. We're getting set here, and it's going to be Minneapolis City with the kickoff. It's Hakeem Morgan standing over it. And we're underway here in Rochester. It's a long ball early. It's headed down and finds Navia, who plays back to Herrera. And we thought Herrera would move to the left due to the injury to Krakora, but Herrera's staying in the middle with Moore. And Letien is going to play on the left. Ball finds Spencer Dunlap. Plays it back to Letien, who plays forward to Cortez, and eventually worked back by Rochester, holding on to possession early on. It's over to Tyreek Moore, plays back to Kieran Brown. And it's worked back to Herrera. Over to Dunlap, Spencer Dunlap. Redshirted the past fall at Iowa Western after graduating from Appleton High School. Contact made, no foul called, but it's one right back by Rochester, and Dunlap plays over to Parrish. Parrish, the man of the match of last game after a 2-goal performance against Bavarian United SC. Here's Letien, great pass to Dunlap, who tries to flick to Parrish, but it runs a little too long. Applying pressure on Wes Lorenz, there is Parrish. Runs out of play. It's going to be a throw-in for Minneapolis City. On the far side will be Lorenz to take. And Lorenz will play back to Garcia. And Garcia will work down to Griffin Girchi. And it's worked back to Lorenz. Rochester not pressing early on, allowing space for this Minneapolis City defense. Here comes the long ball from Minneapolis City. Moore is going to head away, looking to head to Kieran Brown, but it runs a little too long for Tyreek Moore. It'll be a corner early on for Minneapolis City, their first of the game. It's a great ball over the top, played in by Garcia, causing a little bit of trouble at the back for Rochester, but Moore heads away to safety. Don't want to risk playing too soft of the header there and allowing a scoring chance. Rather take the chance here on the corner. It's on the far side. Hakeem Morgan to take for Minneapolis City. Plays it in, punched away by Brown. And headed away to Imamovic. Imamovic has speed on the outside. Touch out of play by Jameson Charles, number 8 for Minneapolis City. Jameson Charles, one of the standout recruits for this Minneapolis City squad, plays his ball at Division I, and a very good Division I program at that. North Carolina, the Tar Heels is where Jameson Charles plays. A powerhouse in the ACC, struggling to break into consistently that first 11, but when you're playing at a program like North Carolina, just being there is an accomplishment in and of itself. It's over to Moore here on the near side, and worked up to Imamovic. Imamovic saw the run of Mate, didn't play the ball over the top. You wouldn't think of it with how Mate plays. Doesn't run too much, but when Mate does run, he's got a little bit of speed up top for Rochester. Parrish holds onto the ball well. Finds Navia, who's dragged from the back. And a foul called on Minneapolis City. Taken quickly by Rochester over to the near side to Moore. Moore's looking for that ball over the top. Trying to find Imamovic, and he has. Alan Imamovic, a chance on the near side. A shot, and it bounces off the goalkeeper. It's still loose in front and played out the back by Minneapolis City. What a great run and great find, Tyreek Moore to Alan Imamovic. So it's an early corner here, and it's going to be Spencer Dunlap to take. Imamovic forcing a save from Kalen Mata Castillo, his first of the game. Dunlap now lines up. Tyreek Moore making his way into the box. And Dunlap takes. It's a chance here for Rochester. Finds all the way through. And a run out of play for a throw-in. No one on Rochester able to get a touch on that ball. Five minutes elapsed in this game. Foul called on Rochester. Drawn by Brian Lopez of Minneapolis City. And City will hold up and play back to Lopez. Lopez ahead, read well by Letienne. Letienne up to Parrish, who plays back to Cortez and through. Looking for Letienne was Cortez. A great idea there from Rochester. A great run from Letienne after the interception. Two balls in the field of play. It'll get cleared out here for Rochester. Letienne to throw in, looking long to Mate. Mate the wrong direction with the header, goes straight up. Settled down, but runs out of play on Minneapolis City. It'll be another throw in here for Letienne. Letienne controls and works it back to Herrera. And Herrera over to Moore. Moore's got a little bit of space here. We'll play it outside to Imamovic. Looking up to Paredes. Paredes trying to flick it back. But it goes off of the Minneapolis City defense. It'll be another throw in for Rochester. Imamovic all the way up to Mate. Mate takes well. Huge from Mate. Mate's got space with his left foot. He shoots. It's deflected by Minneapolis City. A crucial deflection there from Carson Pena. So Rochester with the better chances early on as Imamovic spins into a header and wins it. And now Navia controls. Paredes plays the ball Way over the top, looking for Imamovic, but Imamovic will pull up. So it'll be a goal kick. Want to take this time to remind you that this broadcast is sponsored by T-Mobile, Rochester's premier cellular service. Here's Letien playing up to Parrish. Parrish unable to control it, and Lopez will play it back. It's up to Jameson Charles, and Charles will hold on to possession here for Minneapolis City. 8 minutes gone in the game now. 2 chances for Rochester, none really for Minneapolis City. Here's Parrish applying pressure, and Letien does well to win the ball. Over to Navia, who's looking for the switch, instead touches outside and plays to Imamovic. And Imamovic back to Moore. Rochester taking their time. Not wanting to force any passes here. If the ball's over the top, they'll play it, but holding on possession is what Rochester aims to do, and they're doing it here. Pass back and forth between Moore and Herrera, and eventually finding Dunlap. Dunlap, great through ball to Letien, who's made a run on the outside. Letien holds up. Looking for support is Letien. He'll play outside of the foot, looking for Mate. And cleared away. A chance to counter here from Minneapolis City, but Moore cleans up the damage. It's won by Dunlap and Navia, but now a chance for Minneapolis City to break. The through ball outside. Eli Goldman with speed. Working on Paredes. The cut inside for Goldman. Shoots on the outside and scores. Eli Goldman, the first goal of the game for Minneapolis City. Totally against the run of play, but it's a 1-0 lead for the visitors. So Eli Goldman on the counter scores first for Minneapolis City. It's a 1-0 lead in under 10 minutes. Imamovic had ventured forward on the attack, but then the counter left Pedro Paredes in defense. And Eli Goldman cuts inside on Paredes and scores to give Minneapolis City a 1-0 lead. Worked on the other side to Moore. How does Rochester respond after the early goal from Minneapolis City? They've had the better chances. A shot from Imamovic as well as a shot deflected by Mate. But Minneapolis City, the first to put one in the back of the net. Here's Cortez. Cortez up to Paredes. Paredes turns well. Plays the ball over the top to Imamovic, who's got space down the right side. Imamovic will work one-on-one. Cut to the sideline. The cross is deflected into the hands of Mate Castillo, who holds on. Now on the right side, here's Wes Lorenz. Pressure applied by Dunlap. He wins it well. Now Cortez working with Navia. Navia's got space to find Paredes. And Paredes working a little bit more inside than his normal spot at the right wing. Dunlap does well to recover possession. It's played back to Moore. Moore and Herrera. Back to Moore. Out to Imamovic down low. Looking for the long ball, but he'll hold up and play all the way back to Kieran Brown. Here's Herrera getting past Morgan, but his pass is deflected by Minneapolis City. And there's Navia with pressure. But Goldman holds on to the ball. Goldman playing outside, Shea Betchel. Betchel cuts inside on Letien. The through ball. Touched away, and Letien will clean up the damage. And there's Parrish with the pressure, and Jake Parrish gets dragged back from behind. That's going to be a yellow card on Wes Lorenz. His first foul of the game, but stopping a clear counter opportunity. And the ref will show the yellow to Wes Lorenz. Parrish absolutely beat two Minneapolis City defenders there on the turn after gaining possession of the ball on the press and just dragged back from behind. Now Herrera is going to take this one. He'll look to play quickly, waiting for the restart. And he does play quickly. It's over to Letienne. Letienne works low to Parrish. Parrish on the far sideline, back to Letienne. Letienne clips over. He's got Mate. Mate with the touch and the flick over. It's going to go in the net, but the offsides flag is up. Unfortunate for Mate. Thought he scored his first goal in Rochester Gray, but the linesman denies him. It's still 1-0 Minneapolis City. But once again, it's a good idea from Rochester. Those balls over the top have been working for the side. Here's the pressure from Cortez, winning it out wide, but too far for Parrish. It'll be a throw in for City on the far sideline. Headed away by Rochester, but right into the path of Minneapolis City. And here's Jamison Charles. Back to Lorenz with a yellow, and eventually worked back to Garcia. Down to Gierci. Gierci up ahead. Great interception from Navia, and here goes Rochester on the break. Dunlap flicks ahead, but is touched too long, and it runs into the path of Kalen Matacastillo, who holds on to the ball and dishes out to Gierci. Once again, it's positive offensively from Rochester. Just the pass in the final third hasn't been crisp, and that's led to those chances that have been blown. Here's Akeem Morgan, who gets a touch on it, but it falls back to Brown. Brown rolls out to Moore, who then goes down to Imamovic. Imamovic back to Dunlap, and back to Imamovic, who plays over to Moore. No panic in this Rochester side after going down 1-0 early on before the 10-minute mark, as Eli Goldman put one in for the visitors. Here's another ball over the top. Coming out to deal with it was Mata Castillo, and he just barely got a touch to it to push it out of the path of the goal. As this one's played ahead, Eric Contreras controlling on the near sideline, gets past one, pushes down Imamovic, and Imamovic will stay down for a bit. It's taken by Navia all the way to the other side and Letienne. Work back to Herrera. Plays quickly to Cortez and over to Moore. Looking ahead to Imamovic. Imamovic has found himself free on the right side a couple times. All the way back to Brown. "15 minutes gone, a 1-0 lead, courtesy of Eli Goldman, the difference in this one so far. There's Moore looking for Imamovic on the far side. Imamovic thought he won the battle, but a foul was committed in the process. So it'll be a free kick down low for Minneapolis City. Taken by Mata Castillo. All the way ahead. Imamovic wins a header. And down to Dunlap, who plays well with Cortez. Got a release on the far side. It's Letienne. Letienne touches down well, but unable to keep possession of it is Letienne. A little bit of contact between Letienne and the defender. Mata Castillo clears away, but he's shanked it. It's gone out on the far side. Mata Castillo struggled early on. He missed a clearance outside of the box and now shanks that clearance off to the far sideline. So Letienne with a chance to throw in. He'll take it and find Navia. Navia holding up 2 defenders. Eventually finds Dunlap, who will play all the way back to Imamovic. Now Imamovic plays up, his pass deflected by one of Rochester's own players. A chance to go again on the counter is Goldman. But he can't get there. It'll run out of play for Eli Goldman. It'll be a throw-in for Rochester. Goldman smartly retrieves the ball and throws it back into the field of play so that he can get back and defend. Taken down by Dunlap and back with Imamovic. Splits the defense well to find Herrera. Herrera with space and will play out wide to Letien. Letien playing ahead to Parrish. Parrish taken down by Wes Lorenz. And Monte Castillo will hold and play back to Garcia. Garcia and Lorenz working. Back to Monte Castillo. And over to Gierci. Still no panic in Rochester after going down 1-0 early. There's control from Gabi Herrera. And he'll take his time. Play down low to Moore. Center back seeing a lot of the ball today for Rochester. Once again, Imamovic saw the run of Mate, elected not to play that pass over the top. It's now with Navia over to Herrera. Herrera driving into space, finds Letien on the outside. Letien trying to play one time inside. Finds the ball again. Plays it through to Mate. Cleaned up well there from Eric Contreras, making his way back from left midfield. Refs pushing Letien back. Letien playing ahead to Parrish. But he gets kicked off of Parrish's face and out of play for Minneapolis City throw-in. 1-0, 20 minutes elapsed here in the Battle of the Birds between the Crows and the Loons, Minneapolis City and Rochester FC, Minnesota. The lone difference, a 10th-minute goal from Eli Goldman on the counter for Minneapolis City. Other than that, it's been Rochester dominating the chances in this game. A shot from Imamovic that was saved, and a shot from Mate that was deflected into the path of Mate Castillo. It's been positive for Rochester, just unable to clean it up in the final third. It's work to Cortez, who's dropped way back deep. The man from Drake, after playing 2 seasons at Fort Hays State University, was in the All-MIA tournament team, was Cortez before transferring to Drake. It's lost by Rochester, worked out well by Minneapolis City. Here's Navia turning with space. Held up by 2 defenders for Minneapolis City. Working back to Cortez, who gets taken down and finds Hakeem Morgan. Cutting inside was Goldman. Hakeem Morgan trying to find Goldman. Crucial interception there from Moore to touch that ball away, and then the second pass from Morgan runs out of play on the far side. That'll be a goal kick for Kieran Brown. Moore will play to the left side to Herrera. Both teams settling into this game as Moore plays down to Imamovic. Imamovic now, the long ball over the top, looking for Mate. He's got it. Here's the Hungarian. Playing back to Cortez. Cortez will touch outside, play back to Imamovic, who's made his way up. Imamovic has help on the outside. It's Cortez. Cortez, the cutback, gets a man sliding, plays the ball in the box. It runs way too long. Put back in the path by Rochester. It's free in the box. Here's Paredes, the shot and the goal on the volley. It's Pedro Paredes, the side volley, and it's tied 1-1 in the Battle of the Birds. A huge shot from Paredes. Goal scored for Rochester FC in the 22nd minute by number 10, Pedro Paredes. the goal for Paredes in the 21st minute. His first in Rochester colors, and ties it up 1-1 in a crucial matchup. So 1-1 the score now between Minneapolis City and Rochester. Now Rochester sensing blood, playing with some urgency, but they'll still hold possession. Now here's a good one, too. Letien on the far side. Trying to play it in. It'll be a corner here for Rochester. The assist on that goal, Jake Parrish working free on the far side. Just clipped it up and in play. He'll get the assist. That's his 5th point of the season after 2 goals in the last game and an assist in this one. The corner's in. Tyreek Moore through contact, but it'll be a goal kick. So Eli Goldman punched first for Rochester. Pedro Paredes punches back. Imamovic caught in his own defensive box and is played out by Moore. And just like that, it's all tied up between the two sides. Pedro Paredes, the Puma-sponsored athlete, since the age of 12, played at Santos, the famed Brazilian academy, up until the age of 17, and then made his way over to the States. Green-shirted at Lincoln Trail College, and then played a season there. As Letien steps in, and Rochester with a chance to break again. Here's Parrish on the far side. Parrish plays ahead. It's Cortez, the first-time ball, looking for Mate on the left foot. And Mate, another crucial deflection for this Minneapolis City defense on Mate. And Mate's just been unlucky today. 2 great chances, but 2 great deflections from the Crows. This one shouldered ahead by Imamovic, looking for Mate again, who wins it. And there's Navia. Navia working well with Paredes. It's back to Navia. And around to Cortez. Cortez will play long to Herrera on the far side. How about that for a response? The side volley with an empty net from Paredes after the little chip from Jake Parrish, who won the ball free from the goalkeeper, Mate Castillo. It's been rough. It's been a rough start for Mate Castillo, struggling to settle in this game, and this one's on the outside. It's Goldman again. Goldman working against Tyreek Moore. Crosses in, but no one home for Minneapolis City. Letien's got a chance to turn here. And just hoofs it up the pitch, looking for Parrish. Parrish through contact on Garcia. It's played outside. Carson Pino will play back to Gierci. Here's Tyreek Moore. Over to Imamovic. Imamovic up ahead to Navia, back to Cortez. Cortez looking for that long ball, trying to clip one up to Mate. One back by Navia, over to Dunlap. Dunlap's got help on the outside if he needs it. Instead tries to force one through to Mate. He's mad about that one. Here's Akeem Morgan, great first touch, and a ball over the top. Imamovic calling on Kieran Brown, heads it back to Brown. Smart play there from Imamovic. Great communication between the right back and the goalkeeper. We cross the half-hour mark here in Rochester. It's still 1-1 between Minneapolis City and Rochester FC. Goals courtesy of Eli Goldman for the Crows and Pedro Paredes for the Loons. Here's Imamovic, and the Crows are pressing higher here. Cortez, a dangerous pass back, gets lucky that that one gets through to Herrera. Herrera over to Moore. You see that high line for Minneapolis City slowly creeping forward. Rochester looking to play through it. Imamovic plays off Goldman, but Paredes wins it back. Paredes does well, holds on to the ball. Great turn there from Pedro Paredes. He's got space on the right wing. Cuts inside. Paredes going again. Back to Cortez. Cortez with a chance to shoot. It's well over the crossbar, and that's going to fall into the pond behind the field. Someone's going to have to go swimming for that ball later. It'll be a goal kick for Mate Castillo. I want to remind you, this broadcast is sponsored by T-Mobile, Rochester's premier cellular service. I want to thank them for their support of Rochester FC. And remind you to use T-Mobile. Jonah Garcia on the far side. Back to Garcia, playing ahead. Turnover. Letien now with space. Playing out to Parrish, who's got Mate in the middle, but the early cross can't find any heads, and it'll be collected by Mate Castillo. Mate Castillo settled into this game a little bit better. Shaky first 15 for the goalkeeper. Plays at Calvin College. There's a turnover from Rochester. Hakeem Morgan distributes down low. Contreras out wide to Goldman, the goal scorer. Goldman one-on-one with Imamovic. Back to Goldman. A chance to turn and shoot for Goldman. And Letien steps in. Work back now to Wes Lorenz, who plays all the way back to Garcia, and Minneapolis City will reset. Goldman's been the difference maker this whole season. 3 goals in their last game against RKC Third Coast. Scored the first goal of this game. It looks like the game plan for Minneapolis City, get Goldman the ball and let him go to work. This one played back to Gierci. Good line-breaking pass there, and Navia commits the foul. Navia will stand in front of the ball here. Played quickly. On the right side, Betchel. Shea Betchel, guarded by Letien. Crossing the box, but Kieran Brown gets down. And Brown barking out orders, looking at Letien. Probably just telling him, hey, it's simple. Don't get beyond the outside and let that cross in. Here's Paredes, the Rochester goal scorer, back to Tyreek Moore. Over to Herrera. Herrera plays a long ball, looking for Mate. Takes one bounce, headed away by the goalkeeper for Minneapolis City, but now a chance to break. Here's Parrish. Parrish rips across into the box, unable to find Mate. Betchel and Letien. Contact between the two sides, and a yellow shown to Letien. Letien pleading his case with the referee. Now the second yellow of the game. This one on Rochester's left back. Geoffroy Letienne, the first one on Minneapolis City's right back, Wes Lorenz. Both of them just tactical yellows, stopping a counter, stopping a break for the opposing side. Here is Lorenz. Driving with space, no pressure until Letienne steps in. And it's recycled by Minneapolis City. Worked inside to Charles. Charles loses the ball. Here's Dunlap in space. Heavy touch from Dunlap, finds Mate. Mate plays it back to Dunlap on the outside. Dunlap will try and strike it the first time. Probably should have taken a touch there if you're Spencer Dunlap. A bad angle and a bad shot there from Dunlap on a counter opportunity for Rochester FC. It's still 1-1 with 10 minutes left in the first half. Here's Mata Castillo with the goal kick. Looking ahead, headed straight up by Navia, and eventually falls in the path of Charles, who loses the ball again. This one touched back to Imamovic. Has support of Kieran Brown, instead turns and will play it upfield. Down to Goldman. Goldman fends off Paredes. It's down low. Offside called. On the Crows, it'll be Rochester's free kick. And that battle's been one to watch today. Imamovic and Eli Goldman have been going at it with each other. Imamovic hasn't won the majority of the battles, but has won the crucial ones. Goldman hasn't gotten a chance on Imamovic. The goal that Goldman scored, he was being defended by the right winger, Pedro Paredes. But Paredes got his get back and scored one himself. The ball ahead looking for Parrish, but Parrish in an offside position didn't play on it. Up ahead to Brian Lopez on the right side. Defended by Rochester, crucial interception from Dunlap, but it's going to just kiss off of his hands, and the referee will stop play. The violation on Dunlap means a free kick in the attacking half for Minneapolis City. We've really been struggling to create chances today. They've got a goal, but that was directly against the run of play in the first 10 minutes. Rochester dominating the offensive side of the ball. Just found Eli Goldman on the release. This one worked to Akeem Morgan, who turns around, rips one with his left foot, but it's well over the bar, doesn't test Brown. Offside anyways, wouldn't have counted if it went. So over to Moore. Outside to Letienne. Letienne drives one low to Moore. Rochester taking it easy. Once again, not forcing that through ball. Imamovic thought about it again. That's the third time Imamovic has saw the run from Mate, but not played it. There's Navia over to Cortez, back to Navia, and back to Cortez. Good triangle work here from Rochester. And all the way back to Moore. Great possession there from Rochester on the near sideline, working out of space. And there's a driven ball from Herrera. Dunlap will head forward. Herrera crucially steps in again. Letienne on the far side. Good tackle from Wes Lorenz. Lorenz playing ahead. Kept in play, but it's a foul called on the far side against Nico Cortez. Just a little bit too much contact between him and Shea Betchel. A stern talking to from the referee here. For Letienne, who's already on a yellow, needs to be careful. Wes Lorenz on the far side, playing it back to Garcia. Garcia with acres of space here. Gets it back. No pressure from Rochester. Flicked on. And Letien will shield the ball out of play. Good use of his frame there as Letien. Playing quickly to Herrera. This one worked inside to Paredes. Paredes driving in space. Trying to play a 1-2 with Cortez, but now a chance to break for Minneapolis City. Morgan's got the ball. Morgan will play back. Get a return pass. Overstepping there is Letien, and Morgan takes advantage. Eventually cleared away by Rochester. Now Rochester with a chance to break, instead held up by Navia. Navia will get the pass back. And Navia draws a foul. Good awareness there from Diego Navia. Ball was still moving, though, as he plays that free kick, and so it'll have to be retaken for Rochester. 5 minutes left to go in the first half, barring extra time, which I'm sure there will be a lot of. After 2 goals in the first half between the two sides, Eli Goldman in the 10th minute, Pedro Paredes with the answer in the 22nd. There's a long ball from Herrera. Looking for Paredes. He's got him on the far side. Paredes will keep it in well. Paredes, the rainbow. Oh, he's doing a lot. Goes down in the box. Handball called on Paredes. Touches his wrist. But there's a Brazilian flair for Pedro Paredes. And you'll be putting that one on the highlight reel later tonight. You knew it was going to happen at some point. Paredes has been testing it out in training on the far sideline and just took his chance there working against Carson Pena. And if you're Carson Pena, that's got to be a little bit insulting there. We'll see how Pena responds after Paredes tries the rainbow flick on him. Morgan wins the header. Navia, the clearance. Rochester playing with a little bit more confidence now. Headed back to the goalkeeper, Mata Castillo, who collects. Now 3 minutes left. On the far side, on the near sideline is Pena. Pena will get the return pass and play back to Gyurchi. Gyurchi up ahead. Intervention from Navia. Sliding tackle from Navia. It's won well. Great play there from Diego Navia. Navia now back to Cortez. On the far sideline is Paredes. Paredes cutting inside, gets taken out from behind. And he'll stay down for a bit with Pedro Paredes. Foul committed by Eric Contreras, so it's not Pena there guarding Paredes. And it's going to be a free kick here and a dangerous spot to swing it in for Rochester. Here's a free kick. It's Cortez to take. He'll drive it far. An opportunity to run onto it for Letien, but instead it'll work its way back to the far near sideline for Cortez. 1-1 the score. 90 seconds left in regular time of the first half between the Crows of Minneapolis City and the Loons of Rochester. Pedro will play all the way back to Kieran Brown. Now work to the near side here with Minneapolis. It's Pena. Looking ahead for Goldman, but it's intercepted by Navia. Navia now with space and looks for Cortez, and Cortez will play back to Moore. Back to Moore. Now 30 seconds left here in the first half. It's down to Paredes. Paredes looking for the long ball, will hold up and play back to Moore. Herrera plays to Cortez. Back to Herrera. Morgan trying to cut off the pass to Cortez, but doesn't cut off the pass to Brown. And Rochester will hold on to possession here as we enter extra time of the first half. Navia, bad pass to Goldman. Goldman flicks it into no man's land, but Hakeem Morgan runs onto it. Now a chance on the break, but Herrera steps in crucially. Now a chance to break for Herrera. He'll play it to Navia. Navia will control. Space here for Rochester on the far sideline with Imamovic. At the death of the first half, here's Alan Imamovic cutting down to the right side. The cross comes in. It's blocked away by Minneapolis City. A corner coming up. A chance here deep into extra time of the first half for Rochester on the corner. You've got the bodies of Jeffrey Letien, who stands 6'4", and Tyreek Moore, 6'1" in the box there for Rochester. A corner is a win here for Imamovic, and it'll be Cortez to take on the near side. Ball played in, it's low. Finds Moore, who attempts a bicycle and whiffs completely. Now a chance to break, and Moore falls down again. And he'll stay down. Minneapolis City will play it out. A lot hurting for Moore there after failing the bicycle kick. Probably nothing more hurt there than his pride, as he stays down for a bit. As Moore stays down. We're looking at that lower back for Tyreek Moore. Moore will get up, and they're going to call halftime there. Your score 1-1 between Rochester FC and Minneapolis City. A ton to play for in the second half. We'll be right here on Rochester FC Network. Don't go anywhere. Second half action coming in 15 minutes. And we're back here at Rochester Regional Stadium. 1-1 the scoreline between Minneapolis City SC and Rochester FC in the Battle of the Birds, the Crows and the Loons. Second half kickoff taken by Rochester, and it'll be controlled by Cortez, who plays back to the far side. No changes for Rochester coming out of the break. Still Tyreek Moore, Gabby Herrera, the center backs. Outside backs, Geoffroy Letienne on the left and Alan Imamovic on the right. Midfield three of Diego Navia, Spencer Dunlap, and Nico Cortez. Pedro Paredes, the goal scorer, on the right. Jake Parrish, the assist, on the left. And Mate Quiñeres up top. Mate's had a couple of chances. Two really good chances inside of the box. Two huge deflections from Minneapolis City. On the other side, it's been Eli Goldman, the goal scorer. But you see now with the ball on the left side. Goldman taking on Imamovic. Held up by Imamovic. Still Imamovic on Goldman. Through the legs goes Goldman. Tyreek Moore comes and cleans up. And Imamovic away. It's up to Mate. Mate back to Parrish. And all the way outside to Letienne. Letienne goes back to Herrera. But Goldman, the goal scorer for Minneapolis City in the 10th minute. The assist from Eric Contreras. Totally against the run of the play, that goal. Rochester just fell flat on the counter. Imamovic caught up the field, and Pedro Paredes was forced to defend Goldman, and Goldman took full advantage of the winger on winger one-on-one. Here's Letienne cutting inside. Clips one ahead, looking for Mate. A little bit of miscommunication between the Minneapolis City back line, but they get it out to Pina on the left. Pina pressured by Mate. Finds Girchi. Back to Jamison Charles, dropping low for the Crows. Charles looking for the long ball. Won by Morgan. Morgan does well. It's worked out to Brian Lopez. Brian Lopez to Shea Betchel. Betchel looking for the back heel to Morgan. Instead, it's worked out by Rochester. Here's Dunlap. Dunlap the long ball, looking for Paredes. Paredes gets to Pina, but Pina gets there first. It'll be throw-in for Rochester on the far side. Ball controlled by Rochester. Now looking inside, and Charles clears away up to Morgan. Morgan will hold up back to goal. Tyreek Moore now commits the foul on Morgan, and it'll be a yellow for Tyreek Moore. And Moore's unhappy about that one. Second yellow card of the game for Rochester. It's Tyreek Moore, the first one on the left back, Geoffroy Letienne. On the other side, it's Wes Lorenz, the right back for Minneapolis City with their yellow card. So now in the 48th minute. It's a free kick for Minneapolis City. Good spin there from Eric Contreras, but the tackle from Navia. Here's Dunlap, outside to Paredes. Paredes looking up to Mate, finds him on the inside. Mate gets down and gets the ball. Huge tackle from Mate to win the ball back. Paredes on the turn, but it falls right into the path of Goldman. Goldman's dropped deep and helps out Minneapolis City on defense, but it's won back by Navia. Navia cuts outside. Now cutting back is Navia, and he goes down hard. It'll be a foul and kicked away. Getting a talking to there is Eric Contreras. And there's the yellow card. Excuse me, that's Goldman getting the yellow card for time wasting there, kicking that ball away. And Rochester will hold up here and set up a free kick on the set piece. Tyreek Moore makes his way into the box. Geoffroy Letienne's already in there. Rochester's first goal in USL League 2 history came off of a corner. It was recycled back out to Cortez, who then played it in. Tyreek Moore flashed a header across the face of goal, and Parrish headed back into the bottom corner. Looking to replicate that set-piece magic. Here is the touchback to Paredes. Paredes up front to Navia. Navia down low and cleared away by Minneapolis City. A well-worked set piece, but unable to find the final product is Rochester. It'll go out of play on the near side. 10 away fans in attendance for Minneapolis City, just an hour to the north of us. They play their home games at Augsburg University. The throw-in from Letienne. And Letienne has it back. Here's Dunlap. Dunlap on the turn, finds Navia. And worked out to Moore. Controlled play here in the second half for Rochester. Moore will cut back and then try and play it forward, looking for Paredes and finds him. Paredes' pass is turned away, and here's a counter for Minneapolis City. Cleared away by Herrera. Played up, a chance for Mate to run onto it. Here's the Hungarian Mate. Flicks it up to himself. Mate had Parrish. Controlled down by Garcia, but calls for a handball. The referee lets them play on. This one played well ahead for Minneapolis City, out of play on the near sideline. But that's a dangerous ball there from Cañetes. Mate had Jake Parrish on the left side. But stepping in was Garcia. Looked like he got it with his hip, but calls for a handball from the entire Rochester FC crowd. Play on, says the referee, and there's Paredes, a long touch from Dunlap, who wins it back. Now Imamovic into Paredes, who plays ahead to Dunlap. Well worked from Rochester, and they go again. Dunlap finds Cañetes, finds his left foot. It's worked back. Low shot ripped from Cortez. It's well wide. Cortez didn't have any confidence going into that shot. Probably should have pulled back and recycled possession on the left side to Parrish. But instead it's a goal kick here for Mata Castillo. Mata Castillo struggled the first 20 minutes of the game, but eventually settled in. After giving up that goal to Paredes, he's been very sturdy at the back for Minneapolis City. There's the pass ahead. Hakeem Morgan. He's offsides. Kieran Brown comes sliding out. The flag stays up on the near side. Active thinking there from Kieran Brown to stop Hakeem Morgan on the through ball, but wouldn't have gone anyways. It's offsides for the Caros. Tyreek Moore. Taking a quick look at the conference standings before this game, it's RKC Third Coast, the expansion side from Racine, Kenosha County, on top. 2 wins, 6 points, 4 on the goal differential side. 2 wins as well for St. Croix Legends. They sit with 6 points as well, but only a 2-goal differential. They've won each game by 1 point, or 1 goal. Rochester sits in third with 1 win and 1 game against Bavarian United. Thunder Bay Chill and FC Manitoba played a 0-0 draw earlier today. And then bringing up the rear, Minneapolis City 0-2-0. And at the bottom, Bavarian United 0-3-0. Here's Mate. Onto his left. Mate finds the drag back. Into the box is Imamovic. But it's cleared away. Herrera heads forward to Navia. And back to Herrera. Controlling it is Rochester. Looking for the long ball is Herrera. He plays it way too low. But the clearance only as far as Brian Lopez. Parrish touches away from Lopez, and Paredes falls on it. And here's Dunlap. Cortez losing it. And a chance to break again for Minneapolis City. On the far sideline, it's Goldman. One-on-one matchup, and Goldman cuts inside, loses more. The deflection right into the path of Kieran Brown. Rochester got away with one there as Kieran Brown recovers and distributes quickly on the right side. Imamovic up to Paredes. Paredes worked inside, back outside, and then plays it back to Imamovic, who will take his time with the ball and go back to Moore. Goldman's been the danger man for Minneapolis City. Already scored 1 goal today. And every time he's got that ball on the wing, Rochester takes a deep breath inside. Here's the ball inside to Navia. Headed down to Dunlap, who plays over to Moore. Now the press comes from Minneapolis City. Moore does well to work out of it and play back to Brown. Tyreek Moore, like we mentioned before, had the assist on the first goal in USL League 2 history for Rochester. The header across to Parrish. Foul committed there by Paredes. He'll step away. It's going to be Pina to take on the far side. Paredes and Jameson Charles there getting into it with one another. And Pina will take quickly back to Gierchi. Gierchi will take his space. No one from Rochester closing down. He'll play it up, looking for Hakeem Morgan. Finds him, but Dunlap there recovers well defensively, and Tyreek Moore touches out. It's won well by Navia, who gets fouled. And in both games, Diego Navia in the midfield has been battling. He's been through tons of contact in the midfield. A very physical player and very emotional player is Diego Navia, but it's that edge that's given Rochester their first win. As that ball runs out of play, it'll be played in quickly by Minneapolis City. The header away from Herrera slows down the attack for the Crows. It's all the way back to Garcia. Garcia, the player from University of Wisconsin Superior. Well worked there from the Crows, but touched away by Letienne, and now ahead looking for Mate was Dunlap. Miscommunication between the two. And Imamovic intercepts on the far side. Imamovic has speed on the right side. He controls the ball. Plays a through ball looking for Mate. Instead, it's cleared away by Wes Lorenz. Rochester still with possession. Here's Navia. All the way back to Cortez and Herrera. Rochester creeping forward. 12 minutes gone now in the second half. On the far side of Imamovic, back to Moore. The press slowly coming for Minneapolis City, and it's all the way back to Brown. Brown looking to play long, and will instead dish it down to Moore. Brown looking for options, finally finds Nico Cortez, who's made his way back. Here's the long ball for Cortez. Only playing Letienne. Letienne trying the cutback. And it'll be a throw-in for Minneapolis City. Minneapolis City will play back. Hold on to possession. Been a little bit of a stalemate here. First 10-15 minutes of the second half. A chance on the far side for Goldman. That's been about it. That one got deflected into the path of Brown. Here's Goldman again on the left side, guarded by Imamovic. Imamovic gets set, and Goldman will play back to Charles. Charles now whips the ball in, but it's cleared away by Rochester. And here's Dunlap. Dunlap in space. Still going is Dunlap. He's got Paredes to the right. Paredes and Pina battling for the ball. Paredes does well. Gets past Pina for a bit, but Pina recovers well. Got help inside, does Paredes. Instead, we'll play back to Navia. Navia gets closed down quickly. Navia back out. This is Paredes. Paredes fighting through contact. No call from the referee, and a chance for Minneapolis City to break again. 2 players down on the near side. Big tackle there from Moore. Played up by Rochester. Cleared up and away to Kieran Brown. And Brown will kick it out of play and allow the 2 players who are down on the far sideline. Paredes It looks like Carson Pena to recover. Excuse me, that's Jamison Charles for Minneapolis City. Substitution for Rochester. Coming onto play, making his debut, is Warren Deeney for the Loons, the Belize national team capped player. He'll be replacing Jake Parrish, who, after scoring 2 goals in the first game, gets an assist in this one. And Deeney will bring that speed and agility to the left side. And so Minneapolis City will throw the ball back to Brown. And Brown will play it on his feet. Deeney wearing number 7, a 5'8 junior at Indiana Tech from Dengriga, Belize. And was the Premier League of Belize best young player in the 2018-2019 season. And then in 21-22, won the Premier League of Belize Best Midfielder Award. So a lot of recognition there for Warren Deeney. He also has 4 caps for the Belize national team. During his time at Indiana Tech, he played mostly in the midfield. And here he is, Warren Deeney, on the near sideline. Couple of step-overs for Deeney. Deeney still holding on to the ball. He'll play it back to Navia. Well worked by Deeney. Now Navia looking far side to Imamovic. Imamovic will keep it in, but he's offsides. Talk a little bit more about Warren Deeney. His first year at Indiana Tech, he just finished up. Scored 2 goals with 1 assist. Also got 4 yellow cards on 10 shots on goal. Majoring in business management is Deeney. And he's a player that they can play anywhere. He can play in the 10. He can play on the wing as he is now. As there's Imamovic all the way back to Brown. A versatile player and player that's garnered some headlines around Rochester. You know, it's not often you see a player get to play for their national team, and Rochester has a couple players that have played on national teams. Ball's worked back to Brown. Over to Moore. Moore's looking for the long ball. Instead, it releases Imamovic, who cuts inside. Back to Moore. Rochester content to pass around, break down this Minneapolis City defense. Minneapolis City has been on the counter just about all game. And here's the long ball from Moore. Finds Imamovic. Imamovic touches inside, but it's cleared away by Pena. Moore wins the header. Gets undercut there by Eric Contreras, and Contreras comes out the worst there on that 50-50 ball. It'll be Pena to take. The free kick from inside the defensive half for Minneapolis City will be taken quickly back to Kirchi and back to Pena. Pena plays the ball over the top. It'll fall right into the path of Kieran Brown, who has an option to release quickly. Instead, will hold up. And now play it over to the left side to Letien. Letien in space. Has Deeney ahead of him. Letien inside to Navia. Navia gets closed down quickly by Charles. A chance to break here for Minneapolis City. Cutting inside. Charles. His pass to Kim Morgan. Well off the mark and right into the path of Herrera, who's still driving. Herrera's driving in space. Now it's outside to Dunlap. Herrera still running from center back. He's made his way all the way up to the left wing. Now Cortez lays off. Here's a shot. Blocked away by Minneapolis City. Dangerous here from Rochester, but it's touched away by Navi, who comes up limping. Back and forth we go here at Rochester Regional Stadium. 1-1 courtesy of 2 goals in the first half. A 10th minute strike from Eli Goldman on the counter. And a 22nd minute strike from Pedro Paredes after Jake Parrish found him with a chip ball inside. Here's Jameson Charles working outside to Pena. Up ahead, long ball, looking for Brown. Brown headed and eventually clears the ball away. Found himself stumbling there after the header, fighting through contact. An interesting move here from Rochester. They moved Paredes to the middle. So now he's going to be playing that center midfield role. Looks like they pushed Spencer Dunlap out to the right wing, or maybe switch formations altogether. Pressure on Charles from Mate. Mate gets a touch. It's out to Dunlap, who plays back to Mate. Now out to Navia, who plays up. The ball hits the referee. It'll be played back to Navia. Navia trying to take it quickly, but the referee forces a restart and allows Minneapolis City to get back and defend. He touched out left to Herrera. Back into Paredes, who lets it run, and instead it's a turnover and a chance for Minneapolis City to break. Touched away. And going down there through contact is Navia. Navia trying to play quickly again, but the referee holds him up. And Rochester will reset and allow Minneapolis City to get back as well. 25 minutes left to go here in Rochester. Still 1-1 between Minneapolis City and Rochester. The battle of the birds between the Crows and the Loons. Navia plays outside to Herrera, who touches down with confidence. It's back to Cortez. Over to Moore. Rochester's seen most of the ball, but the chances have been fairly equal between the two sides. There's the ball over the top, looking for Mate. They've got him, the Hungarian, onto his left foot. Has help. Touched up by Dunlap. He'll go to the far sideline. He'll rifle one in, but it's over the bar. A positive play looking for Mate over the top. That's been one of the target men here for Rochester. And Mate unable to convert there and with the pass to Dunlap, who fired one over the bar. Here's Garcia on the near side. Garcia with space. Now Dini comes to pressure. Played over the top. Moore gets up and heads it and touches it down and over to Letienne, who collects. Letienne out wide to Dunlap, who's flowed over to the left side. Inside to Navia, who touches back to Herrera. So now Paredes back out on the right wing where he started the game originally. Saw him in the middle briefly with Dunlap out on the right, but switching back are the two. So the only sub made so far in this game is Warren Dini coming on for Jake Parrish. Brown will play over to Moore on the far side. Moore the long ball. Looking for Dini, instead finds Mate. Contact from Dunlap. From Cortez will lead to a foul. And it'll be played back to Gyurchi. Minneapolis City still searching for their first points here in deep north action. Pass back to Mata Castillo, and he'll play up. It's a poor ball. Pena unable to get to it. Touched away. It'll be Minneapolis City ball on the far side. Playing out of the back is Pena. Good pass to Contreras. Contreras has space. Finding Goldman on the far side. Eli Goldman, a chance to cross it in. Instead, will cut it back. Intercepted and cleared away by Rochester. Only as far as Navia. Up to Paredes. Now back to Cortez. Cortez with space. Cortez's pass. Cut out by the Crows. And here they go again. On the left side, Goldman. It's Imamovic who collects and settles the ball down for Rochester. Now 20 to go in this game. As ball's played back to Brown and back to Imamovic. Ball played up to Mate. Stepped in and intercepted by Gyurci. But only as far as Letien, who plays out to Dini. Here's Warren Dini on the left side. Dini will cut inside. Through contact, play back to Dunlap, who goes all the way back to Herrera. Herrera's looking for that long ball over the top. Flicked on by Dini. Here's Mate with his left foot. Mate with his left foot. Another big block from Minneapolis City. Mate's been so unlucky today. 3 times he's been through on goal, and 3 times Minneapolis City has came in and blocked his shot. But bound to get his first goal soon for Rochester is Mate. Letien heads this one, but it's careless. It's right into the path of Charles. Dunlap up ahead. Falling down is Cortez. He got fighting through contact, and he'll hold up the play here and look for a free kick. A tough angle here from about 40 yards out. Got options to his left. Excuse me, his right. He can play back to Dunlap or look to float one in. And he'll look to float one in onto the back post. Cortez holding his hands up, but it'll be a substitution first for Minneapolis City. Winning on a number here for Minneapolis City. Here's a free kick on the back post, headed towards goal by Letien. It'll go out of play. It'll be a goal kick for Minneapolis City. Shea Betchel will lead the field of play. Make way for Stevenson Lamar. Lamar played at Creighton, a team that made an improbable run to the College Cup semifinals. They weren't even supposed to be in the tournament. They only got in due to the automatic bid after they ran the table in the Big East tournament, winning that conference tournament, then making it to the NCAA tournament. A series of improbable wins, first against Missouri State and then making their way through the bracket until they came up to the eventual national champions in Syracuse. In Cary, North Carolina, that national semifinal won by Syracuse, who then went on to win the whole thing. But another high-level player in Stevie Lamar who can bring speed to the outside for the Crows. Letien has made his way to the sideline, but he looks to come back on. Just looking at a quick injury for the Frenchman. So here he is, Lamar, his first couple touches of the game, and it's a pass back to Charles. All the way back to Gyurci. Here's Gyurci again. Good cutoff there from Quiñones. And intercepted by Rochester. Worked out to the right in Paredes, who drags back and then eventually will play the ball back to Imamovic. All the way back to Moore. Herrera whiffs on a pass there, but Letien will collect and play back to Dinny. But it's a turnover for Minneapolis City. Minneapolis City with a throw-in now. On the near side, they'll throw it back to Garcia. Now 15 minutes left to go between the Crows and the Loons. Here's the pressure from Paredes. Calling from Gierci over to Garcia. Now Garcia, the ball over the top, looking for Morgan. It's flicked on, but it'll run too long and out of play. So after today's action, there's no action in the Deep North Conference until Minneapolis City takes on Bavarian United SC on June 2nd, as well as a trip to Canada for Rochester FC on June 2nd. They take on the Thunder Bay Chill before taking on FC Manitoba away 2 days later on June 4th. So after this one, it's the first 2 away games in USL League 2 history for the Loons. And how crucial would 3 points be here in terms of conference standings? Up to Paredes. Paredes drags back, looking for Imamovic, gets pushed down. No foul called. Chance to break for Minneapolis City. Shot from Minneapolis City blocked by Moore. Getting back on defense is Imamovic and spinning out is Pena over. Worked back. Back to Pena on the far side. The cross from Pena. Works short to Morgan. Tyreek Moore wins the battle. Morgan pushes Moore. And here's Morgan with the cross. Over the head of everyone, and Dini will collect on the near side. Dini will take it easy and play back to Herrera. Over to Navia, who plays out wide to Imamovic. Now Rochester pushing forward. Imamovic taking his space. No pressure really from Minneapolis City. He'll play back to Dunlap. Paredes will play. Paredes actually goes down on the far side. He'll be subbed off. Taking a look at Paredes' left thigh. And a couple substitutions incoming here, looks like, for Rochester. Couple players getting some instruction there from Coach Narvaez. It looks like it'll be a triple. 3 players coming up for Rochester. Striker Fadis Trolic, right winger Riley Moore, and midfielder Armin Dedic. All of whom subbed on in the last game as well. Off goes Spencer Dunlap for Riley Moore. Mate Cañeras also comes off, and three subs make their way on. Fadis Trolic goes up top to striker, where he plays for University of St. Thomas. Riley Moore out to the right wing, where he's normally playing for Western Illinois, but redshirted his freshman year. And Armin Dedic making his way into the midfield. So Paredes comes off, Mate comes off, and Spencer Dunlap comes off in the 79th minute. Here's Minneapolis City on the near side. Cleared up, but right into the path of Minneapolis City by Rochester. Touch inside by Morgan. His shot, well over, but it's offsides anyway. And Rochester live to fight another day. Here's Imamovic on the far side. Back to Moore. And Navia dropping deep, taking the spot. Over to Letien. Letien looking up to Cholich. Here's Akeem Morgan. Morgan does well to hold on to possession. Over to Stevie Leman. Now Goldman trying the scissor kick, but it's soft and it's in the path of Brown. Brown will play quickly over the head to Imamovic. Now a chance to break for Rochester. The long ball deflected. Getting onto it is Warren Dini. Dini, long touch. Only goes as far as Imamovic, who's driving into space. Looking for options. Here's Imamovic. Goes down in the box. No call. Cleared away by Minneapolis City. Now a chance for Minneapolis City to counter. The game's opening up here with 8 minutes left. Both teams searching for that game winner, but don't want to risk it at the expense of giving up a goal late. Letien holds up well, but a foul committed by Letien on Lamar. The ball's moving there on the free kick. So it'll be retaken. Good passing inside for Minneapolis City. Stepping in the way. And another foul called on Rochester. Rochester fans voicing their concerns to the referee, but it's a free kick nonetheless. And Dedic having a conversation with the referee. Kieran Brown's getting harassed by one of the Crows. It's Eli Goldman who's looking to poach one and get into the path of Brown. Lining up over it is Hakeem Morgan. He scored a free kick from 35 out against St. Croix, the first goal of their season. Looking to do it again here is Hakeem Morgan. Onto his left foot, he shoots. There's Brown with the save. A rebound opportunity, but falling down was Minneapolis City. Minneapolis City clears it out of play. And so Brown comes up big. Letien will play back. Worked inside to Dedic, who plays all the way back to Brown. Over to Tyreek Moore. 84th minute now we go. Still 1-1, 2 goals in the first half. Ball over the top looking for Cholich. Stepped in by Gyurchi. Puts a very soft header. And eventually finds Letien outside to Dini. Dini working on the left side. Dini cutting low, trying to rip a shot, but just got under it. Had options in the box. And you know Coach Charvet is angry about that one. When you have a tall player, a tall striker like Ferris Cholich in the box, you've got to play it into him and give him a chance to score on the header. It's a goal kick now for Mata Castillo. Still tied deep in this game in Rochester. 5 minutes and change left here at RCTC Stadium. Missing the ball is Moore. Here's Morgan now on the counter. Hakeem Morgan cuts to his right. Touched away well. And working upfield is Rochester. A bad pass from Rochester. It's intercepted by Wes Lorenz. Over to Morgan. Stepped in and intercepted. And a chance for Rochester to break now. Up to Cholich, who plays quickly to Letien. Letien keeps it in. Back to Cholich. Cholich now working down low. Cholich cutting inside. A one-on-one chance here for Cholich. Touches around one defender. It'll run out of play. It'll be a throw-in for Rochester. Holding up play is the referee. He's going to go over and have a conversation with Navia, who was down. Make sure he's okay. Navia and Hakeem Morgan embracing there. A little bit of contact between the two players, both of whom have played exceptionally for both sides. Hakeem Morgan's been a danger man alongside with Eli Goldman, part of that potent Minneapolis City attack. All the scoring this season has come from those two guys for Minneapolis City. Morgan got the first goal of the season. Goldman's got the next 4 for the Crows. Navia goes back down. He's going to need a substitution here, most likely. Couple options here. Most likely one to go in is Finnegan Huffington, College of St. Scholastica graduate. Played mainly center defensive mid for St. Scholastica. They're checking out that right leg of Navia, and he's slamming the ground in pain. Into the 87th minute. Still 1-1 between the two sides, but a chance here for Rochester on the throw-in. Deep in the Minneapolis City zone. So Finnegan Huffington making his Rochester FC debut. Huffington, the product out of Duluth FC, played in their youth academy. A very highly rated player. Was unable to break into the first team, but then impressed here at tryouts for Rochester and made his way onto the team. Here's Herrera putting the ball in deep. Worked across. Headed away by Minneapolis City. Here's Huffington. His first action. But it's an offside called on the far sideline. And Minneapolis City will go again. 90 seconds and counting left in regular time before we head to extra time. Rochester gambling a little bit, leaving players up against this Minneapolis City offense. Here's Charles driving. Charles has been very solid in the midfield for the Crows. On the right side to Lamar. Stevie Lamar gets the ball taken away. Letien will keep it in play on the left side, and he'll find Dedic. Dedic one-times the ball, and eventually finds Warren Deeney. Deeney cutting inside. Deeney playing the long ball, looking for Riley Moore on the far side. Headed back by Pena. Into the 89th minute we go. So over to Gierchi. Now on the left side with Pena. Inside Charles. No pressure on Charles. He's going to drive and take his space. Now worked out wide. Rochester coming back to defend. Brian Lopez. Letien holding up Lopez. Final seconds of regular time before extra time. Looking up, finding Lopez. Shielded well by Herrera. And we're into extra time here. Work to Imamovic on the right side. Inside to Dedic. Dedic plays CDM, playing in that 6 role for this Rochester team. Down low to Letien. Inside, Cortez back to Huffington. Huffington looking for the long ball. Has found Imamovic. Imamovic with time to bring it down and does. Driving on the right side is Imamovic. Imamovic trying to find space and does. He goes down in the box. Through contact, but no foul called, and chance for Minneapolis City to go again. Played off of one of the Loons. It'll be a throw in for the Crows. Bad touch from the Loons. Trying to take it quickly is Rochester. Worked on the far side. Got to go quickly if you're Rochester here. Playing up, looking for Cholich. It's going to bounce, but Mata Castillo collects. Minneapolis City working well. On the right side, on the left side, excuse me, with Goldman. Touched away by Imamovic. Will play back to Brown, and Brown's got to get rid of it quickly and does. Up to Moore, who plays out to the right side, touched out of bounds, and it'll be a throw in deep in the defensive zone for the Loons. Touch ahead, out of play, another Rochester throw-in. Chance here for one more opportunity at the death for the Loons. Kept in. Switching sides to Letien. Letien rolling one, looking for Cholich. Brought down by Herrera. Letien again with the ball. Working inside, Cholich is free. The flag goes up as Dini scores, but the flag is up on the offsides, again hurting Rochester FC. The fans are livid about that one. And going over, most likely to give the bench a yellow. And he does give the bench a yellow. Coach Narvaez is very angry about that one. We'll take a look at that one post-game and see if that was a missed call. Warren Dini finished it. He scored the goal. That was after the offsides was called. And that could come back to haunt Rochester. Minneapolis City cleared up. Headed down by Rochester. Controlled by Minneapolis City. A chance here at the death. It's Goldman, their danger man. Headed away by Imamovic. Moore clears. Only as far as Huffington, though, and Huffington loses the ball. Touch away and a chance to break again. Here's Dini. Dini's got space. Dini working into space. Looks up for Cholich. Has Cholich with a through ball. Cholich touches ahead. Pushed out in the box. No call from the referee. The long touch from Cholich. Had he controlled that better, that's probably a penalty. But the referee deems Cholich can make a play on that ball. And now RFC scrambling on defense. Goldman on the left side. Goldman cuts in. Huffington touches away. The shot ripped well above the net. Goal kick coming for Rochester. You're talking about playing at the death. This is probably one of the final kicks of the game, so it's got to be quick here for Rochester. Brown signaling his players forward. Played ahead. Touched up, looking for Cholich again, but it's too long. Mata Castillo. And there's the final whistle. 1-1. The points are shared between Minneapolis City SC and Rochester FC Minnesota in the first ever Battle of the Birds. It's a result that no one is a fan of, but a dangerous game with chances on both sides. The offsides coming back to hurt Rochester FC. We'll take a look at that final chance. The offsides called on Cholich post-game, but as of now, it's 1-1. The points are shared. Minneapolis City gets their first points in conference play in the Deep North Conference of USL League 2. Rochester FC remains unbeaten, now 1-0-1 as they head into an away trip to Canada to face the Thunder Bay Chill and FC Manitoba. The next time you'll see us here on Rochester FC Network tomorrow for a UPSL game, and then on Wednesday for USL W League action. And then that'll be it for the month of May. We'll have the June games coming up after that. As for now, I've been Arnaud Pokraw joining you from Rochester Regional Stadium. The final score 1-1 between Rochester FC and Minneapolis City SC. Have a great day, and be nice to one another.